right, welcome to episode 3 of The Bearded Engineer. I am the Bearded Engineer, Joe, as you know, and today we've got extremely special guest.
Yes.
Actually, the longest employee on record at what used to be D.L. Howell Associates, which is now Howell Engineering. So, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. I'm honored to be here. My name is Joe Russella,
Yep.
and I'm the Bearded Engineer's first employee.
That you are. You've been here for, I know some people know this, but not everybody, but people will see this will know it now, is that you've been here a week longer than I've been here.
Yep.
Started the first week, built our desks, had our gateway computers.
State of the art at the time.
Yep. But just to go back a little bit, I just was going to, when I thought about this thing about sitting here talking with you, like, you and I go back much further than that, right?
Yeah,
back
yes.
to the days of Huff Low. And what did you
Huff
do
Low.
there?
But Huff Low, I was initially hired to do drafting and design on an architectural end.
And before that, you were at PennDOT.
I was at PennDOT.
Yep.
Yes. Made a tour duty. And then before that, I was I worked for a local architect in media.
Bob Lynn?
Bob Lynn. Yeah, he was my first job out of college.
And he's still in business. I just was at a meeting with him about a month and a half ago.
Yeah, he was quite a guy, yeah.
Yeah.
I shared an office with him.
Did you really?
He didn't have enough space, so.
That's cool. Well, look, I go back to the Joe Russella in the Acura Integra. Was it a 4-door or a 2-door?
It was a 2-door hatchback.
2-door hatchback. It was cool.
Yeah.
I didn't have that, but you worked at Huff Low. Obviously, you did drafting, and then you could also do land development plans.
Yeah, yeah.
So in my days of knowing Joe Russella, before him and I got together like this, our relationship was basically like based on Chick-fil-A and days at the mall.
And days at the mall, yeah.
Yep.
Going at and pizza.
Reno's. Yes.
Huge
Yep.
lunch destination.
So we'd work all morning, then one of us wander over, extend a lunch invitation.
Yeah.
A bunch of us guys would go, except for the day that I walked over there and your old boss, Neil Liebman, was screaming at you and yelling at you, and I decided just let you be yelled at, and I left.
Yep. The days of being yelled at. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And Joe knows, and we went to the mall that day without Joe, and I bought him a card. There was a little lion that said, "Sorry, I growled."
Yep.
It was on his desk for
Made
him.
me feel better.
Made you feel better, yeah. Yeah, and then I left E.B. Walsh for a little while, and
Yeah.
Joe came to E.B. Walsh.
Yep.
And that's where him and I kind of worked together. So
Yeah. It's amazing the time and the history
yeah.
and the events that occurred between then and now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like I said, fast forward 26 years ago, we're sitting on the back porch of my house on Scotlandtown Road.
Yeah.
Decided to buy 2 gateway computers. We knew at the time it wouldn't be much engineering. We'd mainly be playing golf and going to the driving range. We had our office by the driving range. And we started on Haggerty Boulevard. And Joe, tell them how many times we played golf over there.
Probably couldn't even count on one hand.
I don't think we did it even twice.
No, it was just
head down,
and working. Trying to keep clients coming in and hitting it hard.
Yeah. So, like, from your perspective, obviously you were cutting edge AutoCAD guy back in the day, right? When not many people used AutoCAD, and you used it as like a drafting platform.
Yeah. I was lucky to. I really thank PennDOT for that, because I got sent to Montoursville to learn on one of the state of the art computers.
Yeah.
And it was an introduction to supplement the board drafting,
which you were also excellent at doing. And I followed up behind you on plans that you drew by hand at Huff Low.
Yeah. I mean, that was, you had to be a good drafter. You have to really force you to think.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, and we've, like your days at Huff Low, like what all do you think that you learned there first getting going?
Well, learned a lot about working with a team, putting a project together, thinking it through, and then working with other people in the industry to put together a project. So it was a collaboration of, the architects and landscape architecture, and in dealing with, like, at the time was Joe Russella.
Yep.
And
construction. You dealt with those guys
because they had the constructing in the field. So really learning about not only what you were drawing, but knowing that what you were drawing was getting built.
Yeah.
And getting the feedback about your details. And
that's what I think is giving you the most unique perspective, different than a lot of the engineers here, is that you got to see not only the architecture side, the engineering side, but then you also were heavily involved in the construction side. So that's what's made you here so valuable on jobs like the LA Fitness, where we
Yeah.
squeezed it in between the Kmart where the old bookstore used to
Yeah.
be, and all the details that were involved in those utilities that existed there, and just having that unique perspective, which is not one that really any of us here at the firms have. I mean, you're definitely unique uh, in that regard.
Yeah, fortunate. I I just took it in. I like that. And understanding the architecture and how a building goes together parlays into
Yeah.
the site work because it's a complete package. It has to all go together.
It does, and it's interesting. Like we both get into the business. I mean, I'm a little bit behind you, but we come into it, and we're coming in. It's exciting, and you feel like you're keeping up with like everything else, like technology. But like even I feel today that it's advancing past like
Yeah,
what we're used to dealing with.
it really is. There's a lot more, and I almost feel like I still do what we would consider when we first started, like
Yeah,
2-dimensional drafting, where there's so many other more advanced features that just not as familiar with, but are available. And
they're
you know,
yeah. Yeah, and they're some of these young people can use them like very to their advantage, and they're very powerful. But it just like that wave of technology just continues to advance, and eventually you just struggle to keep up with it.
oh, gosh, it's leaps and bounds from
Yeah,
when we started. I mean, just going from drafting on the board to the computer was a huge step.
yeah,
And now after that, the it's just technology and the ability and the different programs
yeah,
that are even built in to the
yeah.
program.
We have a cool, unique thing. I mean, we can talk about we were in the days of blueprints.
Yeah,
You were in the days of the chart of the plotter, the pen plotter, the
yeah,
plotted by with moving the mylar back and forth.
yeah, yeah. Had to change the pens,
Yeah,
and I would have to
right.
plot all night.
Yeah, right.
You
To
know,
plot one picture.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, to me, that's what's remarkable about what's changed. Like the young engineers that come into the business with us now today, and they have the luxury of just hitting print
yeah.
and then walking downstairs, which is probably a pain in their ass to walk downstairs and get like 17 sets. But if they would have known what it was like to make blueprints all day.
Yeah, all day.
Yep.
Have one person dedicated to just running blueprints.
Right. And we have actually that person here at the company now.
Who's that?
Game Boy.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. At some point in time in the future, we will have a Jason Schmidt on the podcast.
Yeah.
No one's really ready to hear that yet, but he was a blueprint guy at
Yeah.
Hufflo.
Yeah.
We gave him stuff, and he earned the name Game Boy because when he wasn't making blueprints, he was playing on his Game Boy.
Playing on his Game Boy.
Yeah.
That's you know funny stuff. How we it's a small industry, so
Yeah.
circle comes around and he's back here now.
Back here now. And you probably haven't heard this, and I only heard it the other day, but apparently there was an over 40 versus the under 40 basketball contest here 2
Oh,
days ago where the over 40 guys, one of them was Jason, and played the under 40 guys, and the over 40 guys won by a lot.
uh, we have endurance.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
past that.
glad that I wasn't invited. To
Exactly,
that.
right, exactly. I'm
'Cause
glad that I
We
was.
would have had a stretcher.
Yep. But like, we're like, I was at lunch yesterday with a firm that's out of the city. They're probably maybe a half a generation above you and I, or maybe just a little bit above you and I. But I mean, I could tell you that they were just worn down by the business. Like, I mean, like, do you feel like does it eventually is this business eventually wearing on you? Like, it's wearing on me for sure. I mean, I'll probably turn some of these podcasts into my just what it says, my rants more than conversations. But it's definitely been wearing. Don't you think?
Uh, Me personally, yeah. Just for the fact of doing it as long as I have, and uh, it's not that I don't like it. It's just that my mind says that it's time to do something else.
Yeah.
But the industry itself and the regulations and just seems like I'm more frustrated by the lack of cooperation than I am with encouraging to continue to build and redevelop.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, and I will tell you right now that Adam Brower and I, who I worked with at E.B. Walsh, would joke because one time Barry Walsh, our old boss, who was your old boss
Yeah.
too, said said he misses the days when it was fun, right? And we were like, "What are you talking about?" You know. And now it's all relative, obviously. Like I look back, and it was more fun then. It feels like it's more of like a hamster wheel today, and it feels more of like they're just everything is against you to get the jobs approved.
Yeah. As much as you hear that we're trying to promote development, it seems that on the other side of the table, it put up so many barriers to slow you down
Yeah.
and to almost intimidate you into going away.
Oh, there's no question about it. I mean, I will tell you, and I love when I, as you know, I eat breakfast most days in town, and I
Mm.
see some of our elected officials, and a lot of them will talk to me and will like, "Hey, Denny, we need to get more affordable housing here in Chester County," and that seems to be like the really fun and sexy thing to talk about is
Mhm.
affordable housing. The reality of it is what's causing there not to be affordable housing is that the lack of housing and how long it takes. And I always say it takes so long for us to get jobs approved that we can make people faster than I can make lots. If you can create a human being in 9 months and have them grow, and it takes us 2 to 3 years, and sometimes I was in Oxford Borough the other night. That's our seventh year on that project. I mean,
Gee.
when it takes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years to create housing, then you can imagine all of the people that are being created in that time, and we can't keep up with it.
No.
No.
I mean, bigger projects, you're a year plus.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, and it's not uncommon. I mean, just a project that we're doing in East Marlboro on Schoolhouse Lane across from the Walmart. I mean, that's 6 years plus
yeah.
to get under construction. That's a long time.
Yeah. Hey, today, literally today, NV Homes is opening up sales out at my Gray property on Worthington Road in
Yeah.
Euclid Township. I think I started working on that property in 2017 or 2018.
Gee.
Before the pandemic, had some of our initial meetings by Zoom with people with masks, you know, denied by the township, appealed it to the county court, lost, appealed it to the Commonwealth Court, finally settled, started remediation construction. This was to clean up a contaminated property, which you'd think would
Right.
be a noble and
Yeah.
good thing to do.
Sure.
But, here we are today. So, yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff has got to be wearing on you, right?
It absolutely is. I just don't feel like you're getting the cooperation, and maybe because there isn't the support on the other side, or maybe they're just being told that that's the role that they're supposed to do is to kind of curtail development a little bit. But it is frustrating.
I mean, and they'll say I love when the governor puts in things in place to kind of fast track projects.
Mhm.
I don't think anybody at all in the entire development community would feel that the last 15 years has fast tracked that, like, literally anything has gotten faster. In fact, it's all become much slower and longer, which translates to more money.
Yeah, absolutely, and usually that results in sometimes a breakdown between engineer and client
Yeah.
because they almost feel like we're the cause of that. But we're certainly on top of everything that we do, and it's on the other side of it. It's on on the
Yeah.
other side of it.
Yeah, and you can almost guarantee the client. I always tell these new clients when I'm sitting with them anyway that they're going to hate my guts by the end of the job because I know that they are. They're going to, no matter what happens, no matter my best ways I try to manage it and keep them informed. By the end of the project, they're just going to like hate us. And that, to me, that's what actually I think wears on you the most.
Yeah, it does because we're brutally honest. We want to give them
Yeah,
what they want. I mean, and we want to give it to them in a manner where it's the most cost effective. But the other pressures that we get almost make that in itself is a challenge,
it is. It
and it's
is.
frustrating.
Yes,
So
and like finding. Touched on this one on our first podcast. Just finding a young engineer that is up for that challenge and to be you know, knocked down repeatedly and continue to get back up, knocked down by the review agency, knocked down by the municipality, knocked down by your client, and then to continually get back up. It's getting harder.
it absolutely, yeah. I mean, it really seemed like it was more fun, and I
It's
think also it was more fun too because a lot of the a lot of the projects, there's complexities involved with it. Even a little project is complex. A redevelopment project.
Yeah.
Um, it just seemed like there was either more land, or it was easier to develop, or the opportunity there weren't so environmentally constrained,
Right.
and then have that level of having to satisfy. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we certainly could sit here and commiserate
oh
on
yeah,
how miserable it is and seems to be becoming, but I'm always trying to find like some like I mean, do you see any bright spots in the business that have like is there any positives that you see that have come out?
I do. I do see the positive, especially of redevelopment. For instance, working in Pottstown, right?
Yeah.
Seeing the older towns now. It went from Media or Westchester and Phoenixville to Pottstown, but to see where you're taking older properties, older buildings, and be able to redevelop them and provide different levels of business and
Yeah.
growth where there were just vacant buildings. I think that's economically that's good for a town because it brings shopping back, it brings new ideas back, and
Yeah.
different businesses.
Yeah, and it's neat. Like I actually do. That's the part I was gonna say. That's the part that I enjoy. Like I enjoy the fact that I mean, it's always fun to do a new townhome community, and everybody comes out and hates my guts. But it's cool when we're part of. You were part of the Velodrome project. Obviously, you're
Yeah.
the mastermind behind the Velodrome project in Coatesville, which if it ever gets going, could really be a big turnaround to the city of Coatesville. But
A tremendous, opportunity.
yeah, I would love to see it going.
Oh,
I know a lot of people love to see it going. I cross my fingers and I hope to see it going. But like I see those things. I mean, look, we're living through it right now. We just touched on a few minutes ago. Um, the way we would go is go to the mall and I would go to Chick-fil-A at
yeah,
lunchtime because I like loved freaking Chick-fil-A. And now the mall, of course, as you know, is going through its revitalization. We
yeah,
didn't get that job, unfortunately. I wish we did, but
yeah.
every
So,
client I was going to do it with ended up not getting the mall. But now we're looking at the mall transform
mhm.
completely.
Yeah, I mean, that the whole concept of shopping malls, besides King of Prussia, all the malls are struggling.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist. So what do they become?
Right.
You know?
What do they become? And I think, this isn't, I think to West Whiteland's township's credit, they've seen an enormous amount of development over the years. A lot of it's come from us,
Yeah, yeah,
projects behind Entenmann's and all the stuff along Route 30. But I think that the township really has handled the mall pretty well. I don't think the mall developer would probably completely agree, but I think at the end of the day that it's going to be a good project for the community and all the way around. It's interesting to see it happen.
yeah. It is. I mean, going back to when I started out here with Hufflo, which was in the later part of the 80s,
1935.
19,
Yeah.
when there were dirt roads and
Right.
horse and buggies. But I mean, Exton wasn't what it is now.
Right.
They built up the infrastructure, the intersection of 130.
Hell, the bypass wasn't there.
The bypass wasn't there.
Yep.
The old drive-in was still there, where the shopping center. A lot of the significant changes,
Yeah.
but certainly a very thriving area.
Yeah. I mean, we live in one of the wealthiest, best counties in the country.
Yeah,
Everyone thinks it's Hollywood, but Chester County really is a fantastic place to live.
it is, and it still retains some of its rural characteristic. I mean,
Yeah.
your township, Willistown,
Yep.
is still probably one of the premier uh, rural townships in Chester County.
I sit on the planning commission there, and I can attest that, and not much different than most townships, but I mean, there's a lot of regulations to comply with, whether you're doing a project or if you're even a homeowner.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff to go through. It's not like back to what you were saying earlier. It's not getting any easier.
No, certainly not. And I think, for a homeowner, that's probably the biggest,
Yep.
knowing that you have to put a stormwater system in as part of your addition, let's just say, maintain it, runs with the property.
Yep.
And it could be, and if you don't maintain it, someone can step in and do it at your cost. So,
Yeah.
um, I think that's probably, as a homeowner, one of the more frustrating things.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we were waiting here to get ready to go today. I was looking at a text message from a person I know very well at Meridian Bank, one of my favorite places to
Yeah.
bank at all.
Yeah.
and they're doing some work at a property that is in what we call Blackburn, but it was the Saybrook property that Bentley Homes
Oh,
did,
right.
and it's in Easttown
Ye-
Township,
Yeah.
and luckily I'm all too familiar with exactly where it's at and what the constraints are. But I mean, even in today's world, wanting to just do something like a shed or a playset, or a lot of people want to do a greenhouse and grow some of their own food. I mean, you're doing stormwater, you're doing earth disturbance permit
Mhm.
inspections, and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's certainly a burden to a homeowner besides
Yeah,
all the other burdens that you have with maintaining your property.
good. I mean, good for our business, right?
Yeah,
Because there's a lot of stuff for us to
sure.
do. But I think that it simultaneously just wears on us all.
It does.
So you're kind of what would you consider yourself now, Joe? Like semi-retired, or just considering retirement, or
Uh,
put you on
Semi,
the spot?
yeah, no, no, no. I think a semi is a good word because I think that I've come to a point where uh, it that semi-retirement has allowed me to enjoy work a little bit more because
Yeah,
it's given me the opportunity to enjoy time with myself a little bit more, and I think that it really opened my mind to just coming to a little bit of a peaceful junction between relaxation and work,
yeah,
where I was
because
so highly motivated before with work, and that I just couldn't, didn't know how to relax.
no, I know. I mean, I can't. My kids joke that I'll be in my casket on my laptop, because really, once I get done work, whether if I have a meeting at night or if I don't have a meeting at night, if I don't get home and get my laptop open and return upwards of sometimes 100 emails in an evening, then the next morning there'll be more coming in on top of that 100, and you will just never catch up. And that's the part to me also I was going to say to us, because you and I have kind of lived through this. I mean, we were around in the days of not just blueprints, but around in the days when there was no cell phones yet, and there
Yeah,
was no email and no text.
yeah,
So if I got in my car and went someplace, I was listening to the radio, and nobody was getting a hold of me until I got back to the office and checked my voicemail. And if I was gone for the weekend, you weren't going to talk to me again until Monday.
mm-mm.
Those days are long gone, right?
Yeah, we're 100% accessible.
100%. We're
Uh,
working on a big expert report, like I touched on to you earlier.
yeah,
Um, Amanda Schneider in here is helping me do that. She sends it out last night to the attorney to review
mm,
at like quarter to 12, almost midnight.
yeah.
And this morning I got up to pee, and of course I look at my phone, and at 1:50 a.m. he had responded back with his markup comments to this report. So it's just it's just crazy.
Yeah, I just think that's become the way of the world. It's total accessibility.
Yeah.
People just want total, uh, y you know,
Well, they have it, whether they want it or not. They have it. If you don't return your text and emails, they're all over you.
yeah, constant connection,
Yeah.
and so, your question about, the semi-retirement, just found a couple days and some time to just unwind and
Yeah.
just sit there, not feel like I need to respond to a text or
Right.
not that it's not there,
Yeah.
but that I'm just, it can wait a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You're almost training the other people that are used to dealing with you, that they're now going to have a different expectation of what you're gonna do. I kind of actually, I won't name any names, but I know some consultants in our business who are notorious for not getting back to some people for 2 and 3 weeks.
yeah,
And while it was frustrating, although they always get back to me, I can see now where I'm like, shit, kind of wish I would have set that standard. I've now unfortunately set the bar to I return every email even when I'm peeing in the middle of the night.
yeah.
So now I'm kind of stuck on that if I'm not doing it. But like you said, you don't get you don't get a week's vacation where you're actually away anymore.
No, no,
Doesn't
no.
exist.
But, I
It should
think
though.
you absolutely should. I think it's important. However, growing a company when we first started, that was that was key component to just be
Yeah.
so responsive, and not and we always are, and I think we have the ability, but every response doesn't have to be instantaneous.
No. No, I know. But you feel like it's
Yeah,
like
I feel like the text comes in, I feel like I
I feel
must
like
respond.
right,
The email
exactly.
comes in, I must respond, you know?
Right. So yeah, so you and I have gone from me and you,
Yeah,
two guys facing each other in a one room in an old kennel,
yeah,
which is kind of cool.
yeah.
You know, it's not quite the garage story of Apple, but at least we were like in a kennel on a farm and facing each other. And now we've for one way or the other, good or bad, we've gone up to like 125 people and probably make. I say this all the time. I feel like I make less money now than when I did where it was two or three of us. And certainly, I had much less headaches then. You had more hair then.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's changing. I mean, we're just nothing that we can do about it. But it's interesting for me to watch. And like I said to like the young people, like you and I have a neat perspective, as do the guys and girls in our age range, because we've seen the days of no cell phones, of no text
Mhm.
messages. We've seen the days of nobody being at a township meeting, except for us. And you walk in, and now we walk in, and they've coordinated and made a Facebook page
Mm,
to protest the project. They've got T-shirts made.
yeah.
They can coordinate, like a military almost with each other to kind of band together. And I mean, it's a much different climate out getting projects approved than it used
Uh, 100%.
to. Yeah, yeah. I was. Uh, As you know, in order to find out if there's a township meeting, you had to like look in the daily local news in the back, like the print was like 6 font and you couldn't even see it. Now it goes up on the township agenda. Neighbors are notified.
Mhm.
Emails go out. Like I said, Facebook pages get made. We
Yep.
have T-shirts made, and it becomes a production.
A a total production. It's amazing, you know, with just all the information that's on the
Yeah,
website, whereas before you had to go get that.
yeah, and also exactly, and they can. I say they, but people that are concerned residents of our projects nearby, they can of course download the plans. They can use Chat GPT to ask it questions about our stormwater design and what's going on with traffic and everything else. I mean, it makes for a much more challenging environment, and an environment that just wears on us
Mm.
professionals like they have no idea, but it's the business that we're in.
Yeah, it is, and we're on top of our game with understanding all of the regulations, and we're in full compliance. And to those folks, sometimes full compliance isn't enough.
No, no, and as you know all too well too, a lot of them, or I would say a substantial number of people that have come out in opposition recently moved into the township themselves,
Mhm.
which we always find ironic. And I will say I do love the fact that when someone raises their hand today at a meeting, they usually have to give their name and address. And I always just for myself, as I'm sitting there in a meeting, maybe I'm going to wait to speak or it's my turn to talk. I just kind of look them up really quick on my phone because I'm just curious to see, do they live in a brand new house that was built in a community I designed last year, or have they been here since 1975 and truly experienced the
Mhm.
changes that have all gone on? But more often than you'd realize, it's the previous.
Mhm. Oh,
So,
absolutely.
any any recommendations for young engineers coming forward here before we go?
Well, as I always talk to the young engineers, I always say that one of the most important things that they could do is understanding that what we're designing is being built,
Yeah.
and they should, take the time that when they're designing to talk to the people that are actually constructing it to make sure that what we're designing they're able to build and to have that collaboration so that we're it's being built and designed to meet the standards the industry standards and it's being done economically but that it's just that understanding that it's just not lines on the paper
Right.
so um, it's always good to have as much as the time behind the desk and the computer to be out in the field to know how it's really evolving to in the real world.
Yeah, and to be able to, I was saying this the other day on one of our podcasts here. A lot of them go through this struggle of the 3, 4, 5 years, and it's been hard, right? They've been reviewed, they've been opposed, and now they've got their approval. And obviously, the nights we get approval, it's a big congratulations night,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to breathe a sigh of relief. But I'm like, it's a short sigh of relief because now you're going to see all the mistakes that you may have made as this project gets built. So you might as well just embrace the fact that what's laying ahead could be harder than what you just went through, because you're now going to start finding either there's mistakes or there's challenges in the field,
Mm-hmm.
and you've got to, react and be ready to design around. They were always going to be there. They were
Yeah.
always going to be there. It's very rare that we send a job out the door that's fully approved, and then that phone doesn't ring on a fairly regular basis about this or about that, about this, especially with some of the site contractors. I won't name some, but there's one in particular. I know that they know who I'm talking about, but like if one extra grain of dirt has to be moved,
Mm-hmm.
then they're looking back to like come back on us as to why. So that all these things together go on wearing on everyone. And I think what you and I are sitting here, you're semi-retired. I'm not yet, but I got to tell you, with each year, I've become more frustrated and less patient with the whole process. And your eyes are open more to the hypocrisy
Yeah.
that you see all the time.
Yeah. I would sometimes just miss the days and just say, just give me something to draw.
Yeah.
And let me just draw it and not have to deal with all of the other factors that weigh in.
Yeah. And there's a lot, and we can touch on them in
Yeah.
another time.
Sure.
Today was more conversation than rant. We have tons of rants that I could rip into, but we could occupy the whole day. So,
Yep.
all right, Joe, happy semi-retirement.
Yes,
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Yep, and thanks for coming on.
Thank
All
you.
right, bud.
I appreciate
Yep,
it.
see ya.